Hey, it's your old pal, Slim, and this is 70 Millimeter, a podcast for film lovers, just like you. Every Monday, I sit down and record with dear friend and artist Danny Haas.
I would say that The Goonies is the one film that changed my life.
And our own spiritual advisor, Proto.
Can you imagine turning this beautiful landscape into a golf course hellhole? Can we just enough with the golf?
And together as friends for life, we discuss recently watched movies. In the second half of this very episode, we're continuing with the fall vibes and talking Dick Donner's The Goonies. Is it still the greatest adventure movie ever made? Or is it just a middle-of-the-road movie for kids? Enjoy! We have to give a State of the VHS Village address to start off this show because, fall vibes this month. Proto is going to announce his pick later in the show. There's been a lot of buzz on Discord about your pick, Proto. Do you have any quick comments to tease it out as you'll reveal later?
What I said on Discord is that this was a pick from one of our villagers that really wanted us to cover it, and I'm going to fulfill their wish tonight.
What?
Tonight.
Later in the show.
If it's Mortal Engines,
I will ban Proto from this chat right now. I swear to you, if we're doing Mortal Engines next week.
it's around the corner, Proto. Just give it time.
Please.
Now, next week is Proto's pick. Then we have Thanksgiving week after that. This is mainly a comment for Discord, but we're taking Thanksgiving week off.
You're welcome.
We're going to kick our legs up. We're going to eat some turkey skin. That sweet, delicious, sweaty turkey skin. And so we will not be recording the week of Thanksgiving.
Why are you saying skin?
Turkey skin?
You just eat the skin?
Turkey skin is probably one of the most amazing things you can eat.
But isn't it on the meat?
You peel that thing off.
Wait.
You don't have that turkey cooked up and you don't sneak in there and start peeling that turkey skin off? Get a little snack?
Well, we deep fry down here in the South.
What is going on?
I'm just trying to imagine Danny like on those YouTube videos of those like Southern
exactly
boys
what I
putting a
do.
turkey in like a big thing and it like explodes and shoots into the air and people die.
It's exactly what I've done for the last 10 years, but I've never had fire.
So December, I want to talk about December.
Okay, let's do it.
Cutting all that out of the main show.
No,
by
you're
the way.
not.
The turkey skin is not going to make it to the main feed. I think it's been in the works for a year that December we're doing the Lord of the Rings trilogy on this podcast. Proto, this is a big month for us. This could be the biggest month ever. How do you feel going into December?
This is so monumental for all of us. I am going to just have to prepare, unlike I've never prepared before, for, maybe 15 minutes of prep at least to get prepped for these episodes. Like, it's huge.
There's 4K versions. This is a great question in chat. Hannah asks. I've been thinking about this question also. What versions are we going to watch? What are the definitive versions of these movies? Because there's like a 3-hour version of these movies, and then there's like a 30-hour version of each movie. Is that right, Danny?
Yes, but you're something like that.
So which version should we tell people to watch for our month of Lord of the Rings?
Announce it, Danny.
Okay, so if it's for everybody, let's do theatrical.
Theatrical? Really?
What?
No, I'm kidding. I only watch extended.
Only extended. Okay.
He's
It's
a long
official.
boy.
Hannah in chat said that was a sick joke that Danny just played with the theatrical version. So I think they're streaming on HBO Max right now. There are 4K discs available if you're so inclined. I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt on the internet about how the 4K discs look compared to the original theatrical versions. Danny, do you have any thoughts on that?
I haven't seen the 4K yet, so I don't know.
Oh,
Very excited.
okay.
Been saving myself.
This is your moment.
Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. RWT in in chat, you will spend 10 hours watching these movies and you will enjoy it.
It's actually around 12 hours.
Not only that, but I think we're recording next week for our supporters, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
God.
Do you remember anything about that movie, Proto?
No. Isn't this like the forgotten book and movie? Does anyone know what happened in this one?
Nobody knows. Nobody talks about Chamber of Secrets at any point in the Harry Potter fandom. This is the one where he has that little like sword and he fights the snake, I think. Right?
That's not ringing any bells.
The basilisk.
In the dungeon. I think
The
you can say that about
God.
you can say that about any Harry
Can
Potter.
we move on?
All right, we've humiliated
show
enough
tonight. Jeez.
franchises in the last 2 minutes.
Anything you want to say about
Sorry,
Star
everybody.
Wars while we're at it?
No, thank you. So let's get into the movies we watched this week. We just set the stage for the next several weeks of this podcast. If you're so inclined to join along and watch, get ready. We got a lot of things cooked up. Danny, what did you watch this past week?
I watched one movie that we can talk about. Casey and I went to the theaters and saw the release of Spencer, the fable story about Diana, Princess Diana, one weekend at Christmas time in one of their castles somewhere across the pond. I gave this movie 4.5 stars. I really loved this film.
Whoa.
I had a great time watching it. It's funny because I didn't know what this movie was going to be. I mean, I just assumed this was just a true story, which I think it loosely is, but it is very much more of like a haunted house type crazy story. Wow. I mean, it really goes off the rails a bit. And I had a great time watching it. Casey hated it. I think she gave it 2 stars. So we both had different experiences in the theater watching this. I was just kind of in love with it. I kind of liked having this wild kind of take on something that I assumed was going to be pretty straightforward storytelling.
When was the last time you guys had this big different star rating in a movie theater experience? Was it The Lighthouse?
It had to have been The Lighthouse, but I think at that point it was 5 stars and 1 stars at that for that one. Kristen Stewart was pretty incredible. There have been some reviews I read where she was overacting a bit, and I can see it. I can definitely see it, but I think the overacting scenes are kind of goes hand in hand with what's happening in the scenes too. They're kind of crazy bits, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I hadn't seen Jackie yet, the other director's film, which I'm pretty sure Natalie Portman was nominated for that role. So I don't know. I kind of want to dive into that next.
People keep giving off some of the reviews that I read of just how it's not what you really expect. And then even Danny saying like a ghost story almost. You know, I'm very curious about the vibe of this movie. Do you feel like, Danny, it's helpful to know anything about Diana before you go into this? Or is it kind of like you don't really need any reference point?
The reference point that you just have to kind of know is at this point, she is very much on the outs with the royal family. This was coming, I think, her relationship with Charles at this point is very bad. So that's kind of where it kind of picks up when she's meeting up with them at this castle for Christmas weekend.
Movie night, seeing Spencer. What a trip for you both. Casey was on last week, hit episode for You've Got Mail. A lot of buzz about her appearance last week in the great healing of 2021. Still ongoing. Proto, what movies did you watch this week?
I only managed to watch one movie with my kiddos. We took a little weekend trip out to Vermont to visit some dear friends of ours who live out there. Had a great time. And my wife and her friend, they went out one night and we stayed back and watched a movie. We watched the made-for-TV Disney movie Under Wraps.
What?
Yeah. This was a Halloween flick. So, it's kind of like made for TV. I didn't give it a star rating.
Your one-word review for Under Wraps, quote, hellish.
Just
the only person I know that has seen this.
Not for me, as they say.
Quote. Three friends try to save their mummified friend, Harold, from greedy criminals by returning him to his resting place before midnight on Halloween. Dang.
Yeah.
What was your feeling when someone finally settled on this movie? I would have been, I might have just gone to bed if someone, moused over this and said, this is what's happening.
I was trying to get Rescuers Down Under on the TV. But then the kids were like, no. Because we watched The Rescuers a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this would be perfect. We can watch this. This is a great flick. And they said, no, let's watch Under Wraps. And I think my friend, he might have had motion smoothing on his TV.
Oh, no.
So it was a rough night, but we made it through.
I would have Irish goodbyed right to bed once the movie someone hit play on that thing. Just got up, no good nights, just gone.
Yeah, I just said to John, take care of my kids. I'll see you in the morning.
Make sure they brush and get their PJs on. I'm out of here. We have some new friends on Patreon to say hello to. Christian, Ivan, Christina, and Hunter all joined this week at 70mmpod.com. You can get $4 a month, get access to exclusive episodes from the 70mm vault. What was our most recent one? Animatrix just dropped in there. We have the next Harry Potter coming. And then we're hitting some of our $12 patron picks in the next few weeks after that. So a lot of exclusive episodes coming there. And also you get access to the VHS Village Discord and uncut episodes. So by all means, join us. I watched a VHS tape this week.
Talk to me.
In my basement, laid on my floor, put that bad boy in, and Boiler Room. Giovanni Ribisi, starring vehicle. I have this in a pile. I have like one of those milk carton containers, Wawa milk carton things, stack of VHS tapes. And I just saw that out of my corner of my eye, and I was like, oh man, I need to watch this. Proto, have you ever seen Boiler Room in the past?
I haven't, no, but that young Vin Diesel on the cover is enticing. Ben
Affleck is in this. He plays one of the sharks, one of these dumping stock trades. Giovanni Ribisi joins this outfit of stock traders, tries to get rich quick, and then pretty much all hell breaks loose, realizing that everyone's just doing many illegal things, dumping stocks, they call it. But I remember watching this movie a bunch when I worked at a video store when I was younger. This came out in 2000, so it was right around that time frame. And the poster is just so recognizable to me. This came out the same year as Gone in 60 Seconds. What a year for Giovanni.
Big year for Giovanni. Wow.
Fudge. Yeah, Jarrett just posted a Ben Affleck scene. Ben Affleck's incredible in this movie. Absolutely incredible. But I had a lot of fun watching the tape. I think the last time I popped in a VHS tape, but there was no previews on the tape. Feature presentation right away. Had a great time.
Wow, nice.
Great time. Every week we give out a free year of Letterboxd Pro. Share the show on social media. Get a free year of Letterboxd Pro, no ads, access to some of your stats, your lifetime stats. So I'm going to call out someone that discovered the show this week. Posted about it on Twitter.
Oh my.
Jamie, I'm going to read it real quick. His tweet. Unsolicited podcast recommendation. I don't normally listen to film review podcasts because I find them obnoxious. Wow. But I listened to 70mm Pod for the first time, Halloween app, and I never yelled and laughed at a podcast as much as I did during that episode. A++ will check out more.
Wow.
What an episode Halloween was.
I know.
Right?
Gosh.
Oh, yeah. What an app. What an app.
All right, let's get into the big show. The Goonies. This was my pick for Fall Vibes. We have a loose theme this month. Fall Vibes is my pick. Everyone's seen this movie, right? Everyone's seen this. We don't even need to dwell on it. But Proto, what is this film? What is The Goonies?
The Goonies, of Astoria, Oregon, are having their last day in their homes before the local rich pigs turn it into a godforsaken golf course. Side note, can you imagine turning this beautiful landscape into a golf course hellhole? Can we just, enough with the golf. Enough with the golf courses. They are a scourge upon our great nation. Just get rid of them all.
It's not even a sport.
Let me continue. Let me introduce the Goonies. Mikey, the leader. Brand, the older brother with an active libido. Chunk, the klutz and liar and token heavy. Corey Feldman. And Data, who fills his shoes with motor oil and walks into friends' houses wearing them. Mikey finds a treasure map leading to the long-lost riches of the pirate One-Eyed Willie. While looking for the treasure, they get mixed up with the Fratelli fugitives who really want to kill children. They're going to get underground, and they are going to go through tunnels, waterfalls, wishing wells, booby traps, and water slides to find the lost treasure. This is their time to save their town, their homes, and their friendship. The Goonies.
Is Chunk the greatest American character in a film in the last 100 years, Danny?
Yes. Yes.
No one comes close to Chunk.
He embodies the American spirit.
Yes.
God. Mm-hmm. I just was in prayer hands every time Chunk appeared on screen. There's never been a performance that comes close to Chunk. Nothing comes close. You know, you see the GIFs, the truffle shuffle. It's not the full picture. I'm telling you, it's not the full picture. Danny, what's your backstory with the Goonies? Please just tell us.
I would say that the Goonies is the one film that probably changed my life as a child.
Wow.
I watched this on a recorded broadcast on a VHS time and time again. And I think it's what kind of like shaped my love for adventure films. The treasure hunting, the kids getting in trouble. Like, I believe I watched this at a time where felt like I was watching myself on screen. It's a nostalgic film that just hits me right. I love this film so much. But I couldn't even tell you how many times I've seen this film.
I mean, seeing this as a kid in the late 80s when I saw it, or early 90s, I mean, this is like a revolution.
Yeah.
Like seeing this movie, in my opinion, as a kid. There was like nothing else in movies that were, fun. Like, oh my God, if I got into an adventure like this,
right?
It's like mind blowing, I
had only seen this once before, many, many years ago. I was probably under 10. I don't know. I think we're at my grandparents' house, either in North Philly or at their beach house in Wildwood. And I was with all my cousins, and someone said, "Hey, let's put the Goonies on." And everyone was like, "Yeah, the Goonies," and I'm one of the younger cousins, so I had no idea what was going on. But I watched it then, and I don't remember everything from it, so I was a little fuzzy watching this. So it was nice to go back, but that's really my only experience with it. I never rewatched it. I just remember being terrified of sloth, and like why would anyone do this in a movie? That was really my only memory.
Shantana is posting some of the most disturbing deep faces.
I'm not clicking on
it. If you love the Goonies, I'd implore you not to look at these.
It's closed. The window's closed.
I implore you. I just got a mental image of like Proto in that house while everyone's just like chanting for the Goonies movie, being like weirded out.
He's in the corner with his Dune book.
Hey Proto, you ready for the Goonies? What was your screen name that you mentioned last week?
X something.
Oh, XX Kildare. Yeah.
XX Kildare. You ready for the Goonies?
Let's go.
Kildare. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
So I do not remember the opening to this movie. I don't know if it's the version of this film that I grew up on TV, if it was like commonly cut out, but you know, the escape at the start, but also just the introduction to the kids that start this movie.
To everybody.
You know, they're like following the escape, but then in the midst of like all this, you get introduced to all the kids. I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's genius.
You like know right away each one.
Everyone. I mean, you learn about every kid. You learn about the Fratellis. It's this long intro that is perfectly setting you up for every character in this film. Dick Donner's a genius.
I actually forget that Dick Donner directed this. I always like thinking, is this a Spielberg movie or, you know, one of them?
Well, it was Spielberg's story. So I think what I remember was he had the idea while he was working on The Color Purple, I believe, and then reached out to Richard and said, I have a film that I think is right up your alley. And obviously it was. And so Spielberg is actually on set a lot. I watched a couple of the making ofs, and when some of the inclement weather would mess up filming, Spielberg would actually direct the second unit, and he would take a camera out and do some of that work too. So he was hands-on in this a lot, even though it's Richard's movie.
Proto, what's on your list for the Goonies?
My first note is Astoria is beautiful. This coastal town, just I mean, chef kiss. I was like yearning to live here. Can you imagine being a kid growing up here? When they ride their bikes down and they're like right on the water, like I just can't even imagine. How different would my life be? You know, it's just insane. This world that you can live. You know, why do I live in New Jersey? God,
wasted so many years in New Jersey. I mean,
you could change your kid's life right now, Proto, by moving to Astoria.
How much would that house cost today?
Millions.
2.5 mil?
Up it.
Higher. Go higher. Yeah, I mean the views, the beach. I mean, can you imagine just like waking up one morning, just taking a walk on that foggy beach?
And then a four-wheeler truck race comes flying past you.
My God.
Everything about that town I wanted to be in.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the foreclosure a bit. They're talking about how they're going to foreclose on their house because they're going to build, you know, God knows what. I don't understand the logistics of this foreclosure. Couldn't they just not sell? Right? Isn't that like a law or something?
I don't understand how real estate works, so talk to Proto.
Yeah.
We have a real estate agent in chat tonight. Proto, can you handle this?
Apparently, Mikey's dad is like the arbiter of like everyone's home in this town. You know, and if he signs these papers, everyone loses their house. But if they have a certain amount of money, they can stay. Are they like buying off somebody? How is this working?
I don't understand it at all. Like any other movie or story, you're like, these people are getting paid to give up their house. But there's no like, they're losing their house because they're being foreclosed on unless they come up with $1 million. I didn't really understand like how that's even legal.
This is my theory though. This is a kid's movie and you're looking at it. No. You're actually like looking at it from like a kid's perspective. So, right, this is like confusing for anybody who watches. So it doesn't really make sense, which is kind of like what any kid's experience would be hearing any of this.
That's true.
So almost like in a meta way, I feel like it kind of works.
The most meta scene in the whole movie is the end where he's about to sign the contract. And then Sean Astin presents him with what we are assuming are rubies that are worth money. His dad doesn't even look at them, and he tears up the contract and says, I'm never signing this. What are you basing that on? Your son could have just found some rocks for all you know. Insane scene. So Proto's explanation works pretty well for that.
I like it.
Danny, what do you got?
Let's talk about the Rube Goldberg machine to get into Mikey's house.
Mhm. Incredible.
What parent is allowing this to take place, and who sets it back up every time to lock the gate?
Oh my God.
I think about it every time I watch this, but then also I don't care. Like I can't imagine it not being in this film because it's so stupid. Mouth up there, just berating Chunk. It's perfect. I love that scene. It's so stupid.
I mean, chickens could only lay like 2 eggs a day.
Right? How could they even get in to sign the papers if they can't get past this Rube Goldberg machine?
Guava Juice says we need to talk about Mouth being a demon with Rosalita.
No,
That poor woman. Why did she stick around?
That's the greatest scene in this film.
And then she ends up being the one that saves the day with those $1 million rubies in the coat pocket. After all she went through with Mouth.
Mouth speaking Spanish is like one of my favorite scenes in all of cinema. This scene is so funny to me. I think Corey Feldman is so perfect in this role. And it's funny because Rosalita, the actress, she taught Corey all of his Spanish lines. And she actually did the translation, if I remember correctly, for the international release of this film. So she did a lot of work to get this worldwide. But her scenes, it's just, Mouth is hilarious to me in that scene.
I wrote my list. Let's see. Chunk. Is Chunk the best child casting in the last 50 years? Yes.
Yeah.
We made our points known about Chunk. How about the tongue through the painting when they're up in that attic?
Sexual.
I mean, what are you getting your tongue on that thing? That thing is covered in probably mildew, dirt, dust. It's disgusting. My God.
I remember very clearly as a kid, I would go up into my attic and like open the doors and close my eyes and just wish that when I opened them, my attic looked like the Goonies attic. Like the amount of treasures just to like roam. But no, I didn't have that.
It's a great setup for the kids. You know, this is so like crazy. What kicks them off on the adventure.
How about Sean Astin's hair? I mean, what a heartthrob. This kid, I mean, he's gorgeous in this.
It's going places.
He had the it factor.
He really did. And he's great in this. Like the kid's acting is really great. There's a scene up there, up in the attic. I forget, Mikey, he says something and then Bran corrects him. And then he's like, that's what I said. I said that word. And just like the way he's talking to the one kid and then he's talking to his brother and then he comes back. It was just like so natural. All of his acting in that. I was like really impressed with just most of the acting in this.
It's cool because that scene, I think I know what you're talking about. He didn't have a script for talking about the story of One-Eyed Willie. He was only told the story from Richard about what he had to say. And so it had to sound like he was remembering the story from memory while he's telling all the kids that. So it was more natural than him memorizing a line. So that's why that scene I feel like works so well, because he's literally just trying to remember what he was told about One-Eyed Willie.
See, One-Eyed Willie stole treasure once. It was full of rubies and emeralds and diamonds. And he loaded it all up onto a ship, and they sailed away into the sunset until the British king, he found out about it, and then he set up this whole armada to go out after him. And then the armada, it took him a couple weeks, but then they caught up with Willie, and then there was a whole big war between the armada and Willie's ship, the Inferno. And during the firefight, there was just guns bursting here and cannons bursting there.
I also like that he had braces. I don't remember that detail growing up.
Yeah.
But I definitely noticed it this time around. Does everyone else wear shorts over their sweatpants? Yeah, I never got that style.
Daily. The biking through the mountains. My parents would never let me do this. I think I was like super jealous of that scene, but to find the rickety old restaurant with the Fratellis inside, and then you get the Fratellis, and I love this cast of characters so much. Mama Fratelli is so funny to me. She actually looked so much like my grandmother, her like build and her face and her, she just really reminded me of my grandmother. But the brothers were just hilarious to me. Joey Pants and the other guy that sings opera. I could never remember his name in real life, but I just love the Fratellis in this. I have a sticker on I'm looking at it right now on my bookcase that just says the Fratellis Hideout. But I love that group of characters. They're hilarious to me.
Yeah, they're great.
I love the interplay of the kids with them. I mean, I guess it speaks to the direction of Richard Donner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he makes all of these scenes with these kid actors just work amazingly well. I mean, that sounds like small feat. So I didn't watch any of the making of, but I mean, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. And I think when I watched the making of, honestly, it's how many times I've seen this. I just watched the making ofs for the first time, and seeing Richard on set with the kids, it was like, he was like a big grandpa. Like, he was just hamming it up with them. He looked like himself having a great time, which I think is why it just works out so well and getting good performance out of these kids, because it just seemed like he was enjoying it. Like, they're sitting on his lap, they're reading the script, they're just joking around with him, and he's laughing and having a good time. And I think it just translated into the film itself.
How about the Mama Fratelli, once she finally gets the kids out of the rundown restaurant, she like closes that door, and this long shot of her resting on the door after she closes it, and then she delivers that line, "Kids suck." What a strange delivery that was. I mean, the camera stayed on her for like 15 seconds. I feel like I could have heard Donner being like, "Are you going to say the line? You going to say it?" And then she finally says it, and she like whispers it. So bizarre.
Kids suck.
How about when she was running and the grunting that you could hear coming off of her?
Did you ever see Throw Mama from the Train with Danny DeVito?
When I was a kid, but I haven't seen it
Oh,
since
man,
then.
she's great in that.
I think that's what I remember her from more so than this movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't she like evil in that movie or something?
Oh, she was
annoying.
She was a pill.
How about Brolin in this movie? He's another one that he has like the it factor in this movie, in my opinion. You know, like he's going to be a star. What do you think, Proto?
Yeah, I thought he was great in this. The kids have great chemistry. He's very believable as the older brother. You know, the stuff early on. It's so silly, him getting tied up in the chair with his workout device, whatever the heck that thing was. So weird. The idea of just like a kid, like it's such a trope of him just like sitting there like pumping this like all day long on his couch. But yeah, then the scene of him riding the bike down with the training wheels. But
man.
How is he not, when that kid grabs his arm, how is he not just yanking his arm off or just punching that kid in the face? Troy. Was it Troy who was driving the car?
Yeah.
Golly. Troy, what a character too.
Mm.
When he calls Andy, remember when he yells, "Andy, you Goonies." His line delivery is also so bizarre in this movie. I love it.
No.
Andy, you Goonies!
Let's see, the puke story. Chunk. I can't get off of Chunk. I'm going to spend as much time on Chunk as I can in this discussion. The Chunk story where he's talking about the vomit and he's retelling the story and he like delivers that line about how he wanted to play the violin. I mean, just movie magic in my opinion.
That whole interrogation section where they tell him to start at the beginning and he just goes through his life. It's perfect. It's so perfect. It's so funny every time. And he's so great in that scene.
I was cracking up at all of his scenes to the point where Amanda was like, "Is this you as a kid? Is that why this is so funny?" Like I just kept like laughing and looking back at her. She's getting so annoyed. Also the scene where he's like, he has the spoon of the ice cream and they take that from him. It's just his reaction for like a half second before he gets cut is just absolute gold.
Mm-hmm.
One other segue here, the booby traps these kids get into eventually, they're on the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Who is building these booby traps? Like I thought about this with like Indiana Jones a little bit.
Willie.
But I mean, like, you're spending the time to do this. It just seems like a giant waste of time. Booby traps in general.
There's also no quality assurance. Like they're not testing any of these out. You can't test it out because you test it out, then it's done. So they had to set these up hoping that they last, 100 years.
Proto, what else you got on your list?
I love the scene with the stiff in the freezer. The thing I love about it is, and maybe from the like making up Danny, but it seems like it's a real guy. It almost seems like there's a smile on his face as he's just like trying to stare dead straight ahead as his body just like falls forward onto them. And then the scene when Chunk gets locked in there with him, that scene is just so good. And just like the guy's face pressing down on Chunk as he shrinks further and further to the floor. It's a brilliant scene. I love that. I was dying laughing.
We got to talk about Sloth. It's time.
Let's get into it.
How I remember as a kid being mortified of this creature person. I even think there were times where I know I'd seen this multiple times. There were times where it was like my fourth or fifth viewing, and I would just fast forward because I couldn't look at the scenes of him chained into that bedroom. It's so weird too, because I didn't mind the ending stuff with him, but there was something about him being chained up in front of some swashbuckling black and white film. It just terrified me as a kid. And I keep thinking about it every time. And John Matsuzak. I can't remember how to say his last name. He's incredible as Sloth. I just love the guy. Watching him put the makeup on, they say it took like 3 or 4 hours to do the prosthetic eye and the moving of the ears. And they said he was just such the great sport, just doing this day in and day out with these kids. And there were times when the kids were told not to get the mask wet because it would make the makeup move or bleed or something. And they would splash him and he would have to go back into makeup. And they said that he didn't care. He just did it. And he just had a great time doing it. And I love it.
It's like such an 80s character.
Yes,
like wouldn't
100%.
exist unless it was some kind of whimsical, 80s adventure Amblin entertainment movie. I don't know how else to put that, because like you're not going to see this character today in any way, shape, or form. But for whatever reason, it only can exist in this vacuum.
And it's so weird just to see it. Like it's still like, it's even to this day, it's such a jarring image of a person. And you're supposed to believe that this is caused by being dropped on the head 5 or 6 times and et cetera. But man, it's still like, it's still hard to believe it's a person.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
I watched this with my 2 older kids. They're 8 and 6. And I was really curious, as how scared would they be? Could they handle this? Because I remember being terrified of this too. And my son, the 6-year-old, at one point, I think it was like when they first came to the restaurant and they were going in, and he turned to me, he was like, "Dad, this is kind of scary." I was like, "Buckle up, kid."
You ain't seen nothing yet.
They watched the whole thing, and it almost seems like there's something like, I don't know, something magical about this movie where it's pretty frightening for a kid to watch, but maybe there's just like, it's so engaging, and the fact that it stars kids and it's like, this is their adventure, and like they're doing it all, like it just sucked them in, and they stuck through it the whole time. And I was kind of surprised that especially my 6-year-old didn't jet out of the room at some point.
Yeah, like they could see they want to be in this position. Like that would be like them being scared on this journey themselves. And Paul just posted a photo of Chunk and Sloth, and it reminded me of the dummy work in this movie where they're ziplining down from like the mast of the boat, or like Sloth like swings in, and there's like it's like some of the most amazing dummy work of Chunk. Yes, Megan knows. Chunk's legs just flopping. I mean, I'm like crying thinking about it, but someone please get a screenshot or GIF of dummy Chunk flopping around. It was amazing. So I think I tried to get James to watch this recently, but for whatever reason he didn't stick around. So maybe one day we'll get him to view it?
I didn't try. Because it's funny because I don't want them to not like it. I really want them to enjoy this film. So I haven't given it a good try yet with them.
Soon. Look at that dummy. Thank you, Mike.
Too short.
They spent about 5 minutes on that thing, and they had to record it right away.
Cabbage Patch.
The end of the movie, let's see, or some of my other notes. Andy, you Goonie, that line delivery is amazing. We haven't talked about the gals, the young kids in this movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the sexual tension between these kids, off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
It's unreal. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I mean, how about the two brothers after the same girl? And that kissing scene, kissing her in the dark. I mean, another dream of every young man to be, pulled into a dark room and kissed by a girl for the first time.
I think the girls are great in this. They're really funny. The kissing scenes are hilarious. It's a good time.
Oh, the speech. Sean Astin's big speech.
It's a big one.
When they're kind of deciding whether or not any of this is worth it at all. And I mean, how amazing is that speech? I'll drop it in here, but that's how you do it.
I'm not a Goonie. I want to go home. I forgot. But still, don't you realize? The next time you see Sky, it'll be over another town. The next time you take a test, it'll be in some other school. Our parents, they want the best of stuff for us. But right now they gotta do what's right for them. 'Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second we ride up Troy's bucket.
Our time.
Another chunk moment at the end I love is that when all the parents pile out of the van, Chunk's mom brought a Domino's pizza.
Yeah.
And he just rips
She
it
knew
open.
he'd be hungry.
Yeah, he's going to town on it.
Oh, man. So funny.
Moms know their kids.
One of my next notes is the boat scene. The idea that they built this entire set with a boat and the pool, and he refused to let the kids see it beforehand. So when they come down that water slide,
That's awesome.
and the film that we see of them seeing the boat is their actual reaction to being on that set for the first time and seeing the boat for the first time. And you can just tell. You can tell it's a genuine reaction to everything they're looking at. And these kids, that's like a dream. I would do anything to see that set in real life. It would be unreal. And it's really funny because I was thinking about while watching this, how incredible of a movie ride this would be at Universal Studios or something, just to go through and I don't know. Anyway, it's just, that scene just gets me every time to see that ship.
I can't remember what other movie we were talking about recently, but if this was done today, all that stuff would be CGI. The Cave. I mean, you saw Jungle Cruise.
Garbage.
This is the future of cinema, everyone. There is no more Goonies. It's Jungle Cruise from here on out.
Who will save us?
Proto, any other items that we didn't cover yet for the Goonies?
The only thing that I thought was pretty funny. Oh, well, the ship, the Inferno, this ship has been in there for hundreds of years. It's immaculate. There's no rot on this ship at all. It's brand new.
It's sitting in water.
And then also when you see it coming out of the cave from the shore, it's like 10 times too big. Like it is gigantic on the coast. Like it makes no sense, the scale, but it was pretty funny.
So my final thoughts on the Goonies. This is an instant 5-banger.
Yes.
I don't care who you are. Maybe it's nostalgia fog from Amblin, but I had an amazing time rewatching this. This is just a classic movie. Classic, in my opinion. Danny?
Yeah, 5 stars. I mean, it's already on my Letterboxd. This film, it just shaped me as a child. It changed how I watched film. I mean, I just think about it all the time. Anytime you see kids get into a kerfuffle, this is the Goonies. Super 8, Stranger Things. Like, do these even come about if Goonies didn't exist? Like, this was the blueprint for these kinds of films. So, yeah, 5 stars for me. I cherish this film.
You know what? I forgot to mention that, but it's been a while since I watched Stranger Things. I feel like Stranger Things came out like a decade ago at this point, but man, Stranger Things was like the hot S. And
it still is. It's
comparisons to Goonies and stuff. You know, it was like, you know, the return of Goonies almost.
Yeah, it felt like that for sure. And that's why that's why I love Super 8 so much. Super 8 just kind of scratches that itch for me.
Mm. They need to make more movies like it. Let the kids have their moment, you know?
Yeah, that's what I always say.
For me, this is a 3-star movie. It's good. It's a lot of fun. I had a great time watching it with my kids. Yeah, I'll watch it again someday.
Slim, in post, can you have him just say 5? Can you clip out of?
Don't worry about that. I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Already on my notes right now. I just wrote it down. Okay. The Goonies, fall vibes. We did it. Guava Juice also trying to start something in chat, but we're not going to dwell on it.
No,
we're not going to give in to, you know, the negativity here. This is our time. And 10 banger from Danny and I. That's all you need sometimes. Let's see. We have some VMs. We also got an email from a dear friend of the show, Catcher, co-host of the Cinernauts. You can shoot us a letter, VM, audio file at 70mmpod.com. So let me pull up Catcher's email here real quick. All right, here we go. Subject line, I think I might be making a mistake. Never a good time. Never a good time to start an email like that. Hello, boys. I have recently been inspired to do a full Bond watch through.
Yep, big mistake.
This is.
Does he even listening to our show? We said this would be a mistake.
I have never been a huge fan of the series, but the entire series is streamable right now, and this may be the cheapest way to finally take the plunge. But every time I go to press play, I think of Danny and Slim's tortured journey, and I get scared. As of now, my plan is to do one a week. Do either of you have any suggestions, viewing orders, or even things worth skipping over? I'm looking for guidance. Thanks in advance. Catcher from Sector 416. Danny, what's your thought on that?
How many Bond? There's 26, 25. What is the number now?
50 Bond movies.
I would say there are 5 good ones to watch out of the entire franchise.
What about this? What if we put together a taste of every Bond? You just pick one movie for each Bond, and you just get a taste. Maybe he'll do that instead. We can save him a lot of trouble.
Just a taste. The ideal 70mm Bond journey letterbox list for Proto.
Yeah.
I mean, you could skip all of,
say it. All of Roger Moore.
Roger Moore?
Roger Moore.
Put those in the bin. Just toss them.
Delete.
Maybe just watch the YouTube clips of Christopher Walken from that one movie, and then you're good. God, he stinks.
You watch Dalton. You go in for Dalton. There's 2 Connerys maybe to watch.
Some of the most unsexual moments in the Bond series.
1 Pierce Brosnan. And at this point, there's 1 Daniel Craig to watch.
So good luck, Catcher, on your journey. Yeah. You won't be the same
Godspeed.
Afterward. That second Timothy Dalton movie is a banger, though. We have a VM from someone who I thought Danny banned from VMs a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
There was a song voicemail that played.
That probably should be deleted.
I had to go back and edit that Lucas style, remove that one. But we got a VM here. Let's listen to it.
What's up, 70mm fam? This is Shantana here. Just calling in here from the road, heading to my sister's in New York and thinking about this movie, The Goonies. You know, I'm wondering, should I turn my car around, head west instead, and head to that beach that the kids ran up and down, figure out if there's a pirate ship somewhere underground or if it actually did float away. But at the end of the day, I drive east and I wonder about this movie, The Goonies. And I think of, as I stay in the right lane here,
Oh, God.
the watch party that
advise.
we had in the 70mm Discord. Patrons only, $4 a month. And we watched The Goonies together and had a great time. And as I think about that, I'm wondering what would be the host's favorite way to watch The Goonies? Would it be a watch party with your family, or would it be a watch party with some of your closest friends that you also biked around town with? Or would it be in a theater full of a bunch of strangers? What is the watch party that you guys would choose for this movie? And thanks for the pod. Shantana out.
Thank you, Shantana.
Thank you, Shantana.
Thanks,
Proto,
Sean.
what's your ideal viewing sitch for a movie like The Goonies?
Well, I feel like I really had it. Showing a movie to your kids that you've seen before that is going to be their first time, and knowing what a moment's going to come up, and instead of watching the screen, I look to their faces to see how they're going to react. That's some of the best movie watching experiences I've ever had. And it's great. And for me, it's only just starting because my kids are so young. So I feel like I had the ideal movie watching experience already with The Goonies, watching it with my kids.
What were your kids' ratings for The Goonies? Did you ask them?
I'm trying to keep them on a no-star diet.
Regiment.
I do want to point out, too, that Proto has been very, very unrateable on his recent Letterboxd diaries. He's not dropping stars anymore. And just to be clear, I predicted this many months ago. I predicted that Proto was going to go on this journey. He's going to get rid of stars. He was going to eradicate them.
It's not
And
happening.
I just want to point out that it's slowly coming to fruition that I was right.
I give stars every week. Everyone knows this. Stars aren't going anywhere.
I don't know what my ideal viewing. I'm not, my thoughts on movie theaters are well known. Love them. But there's just something to be said about being in your home, your residence, in your favorite chair or floor, lazy boy, and eating your favorite meal, with your family. It's a beautiful thing. Can't ask for much more.
I would find the biggest theater I could and invite everyone I know to enjoy The Goonies. A village meetup to watch The Goonies would be a dream. In Astoria.
Oh, what?
I mean, are we doing that?
Is this happening?
I mean,
Goonies 2022 East
Let's
Coast
go.
VHS Village meetup.
Sean Astin, he's coming.
I'll text him.
Oh my God. Is he? Oh.
Confirmed.
We do need to start planning the 70mm meetup.
The
East
first
Coast.
meetup? Oh, gosh.
Is it going to be a ghost hunt or are we doing something else?
I don't know.
It's probably the only way I'll get Amanda to go. Promises of ghost hunting. Potential.
Once we get her there, we have to
temporal
record with her. We'll force her to.
No comment. Final VM comes from another Goonies fan.
Hey guys, it's Christy from all the way in South Africa.
Oh.
And I knew as soon as I heard that you were doing the Goonies that I had to send in a voice note because this is the movie that my grandfather introduced to me that made me fall in love with movies.
Oh my.
I mean, everything about
bless.
this movie, the adventure, the ensemble cast, the soundtrack, it just, as a young child, this was completely transportive for me. So much so that I wanted to live in that world. I wanted to be Mikey. I just love it. I could gush about it for ages. I'm so excited to hear you talk about it. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you so much for this podcast. It brings me so much joy to listen to it. I've discovered new movies that I would never have heard of before, and I have just such a good laugh listening to it, so much so that my husband kept hearing me laughing and has now started listening as well. So thank you. Thank you for creating a great community of movie lovers. Yeah, bye.
Is it the greatest accent in the history of accents?
My goodness.
I ask you. I ask you.
I love hearing that, how this movie has changed people's, or just like made people fall in love with movies. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
In the Discord right now, I'm going to drop Christy's IG. She's got great artwork and I like her. So give her a follow.
Unreal. Yeah, I was going to say, Christy DM'd us as soon as we announced the Goonies, and she was beside herself. So thanks for the VM, Christy. Thanks for being a part of the community.
Yes.
Let's just jump in head first. Fall Vibes Month. We have one more host pick, and it all comes down to one host. Proto, spiritual advisor, poet, writer. Will this continue the healing train right now?
Robert Altman.
Oh, no.
Never heard of him.
Oh, no.
So I fell in love with Robert.
Okay.
This year. I had a love affair. It began.
Right.
I watched The Long Goodbye, and then I watched California Split. Fantastic movies. Loved them. And I wanted more. Okay. So.
Oh my.
There's another one because, we have a dear friend in the village who once recommended a Robert Altman movie for us. He recommended this movie. He watched it back on May 15th, 2020. Wow. He gave it 4.5 stars. Our dear friend Art, he said, you guys got to watch this movie. You got to cover it at some point. And we all said, all right, we'll get to it. None of us watched it, but now's the time. So my pick is Robert Altman's McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
What is this?
This is from 1971, and it's called an anti-Western. I don't know if this is actually a Fall Vibes movie. From some of the pictures I've seen, it seems it takes place on the West Coast. It looks rather drab, cold. They're wearing coats, so maybe Fall Vibes. Anything I've read about this movie has had me hyped for. So this is something I've wanted to watch for a long time.
Shelley Duvall's in this.
Queen.
Oh, I'm
Keith
excited.
Carradine, Julie Christie, Renee Auberjonois, and Warren Beatty with what looks to be an orange beard. So that could be our Fall Vibes right there.
There it is.
Background image.
Weird color.
A gambler and a prostitute become business partners in a remote Old West mining town, and their enterprise thrives until a large corporation arrives on the scene. Is this the original inspiration for You've Got Mail? That's what it sounds like.
The theme's alive. There's a bit of theme this month of a big corporation taking over the little guy's living.
Yeah.
This is our new theme.
What a pick. Art's probably in bed right now. Otherwise, he'd be tapping away in live chat. Hope
for you, Art.
This one's for you, Art. We have, let's see, this is the final movie for Fall Vibes. In just a few weeks, we're going into Lord of the Rings. We couldn't go any harder into December than we are right now. And it's just around the corner. We broke news that it's going to be the extended versions. So get ready. Buckle up. This is the big one. Proto, any closing thoughts this week?
Yeah, I heard this, someone said this, I don't know if and a lot of people have said this in the past, but someone said movies are like dreams. I think a lot of people have said this, and this has been on my mind. Every time I watch a movie now, I just think of this, just like this idea that movies are dreams. Or like dreams. And I found this quote from Federico Fellini. He said, talking about dreams is like talking about movies. Since the cinema uses the language of dreams, years can pass in a second and you can hop from one place to another. It's a language made of image. And even as watching the Goonies, I not everything makes sense in movies all the time, but dreams don't make any sense a lot of the time either. And I just love that idea. And as I was watching the Goonies, I felt the same way that this when a movie feels more like a dream, it's almost better that way. I think I'm coming around to that opinion.
God bless America and Chunk for that matter.
And Chunk.
We'll see everybody next week for McCabe and Mrs. Miller. $70mm is a tape deck production with original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance provided and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, created by Proto. Producer Emeritus Dale_A. Transcripts provided by Sophie Shin. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends and access to exclusive episodes, discounts on merch, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.